Hello and welcome to this edition of Joy in Our Town. I'm Ann Farrell Tata, your host, and today I'm delighted to welcome my guest, Lieutenant David Rosado with the Chesapeake Sheriff's Office. And our topic today is public safety, and our issue is bullying. We're going to be talking about bullying today, so thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So, you know what, will you define bullying? Because that's something we're hearing all the time in the news today. What do people mean when they say bullying?
Absolutely. Bullying, the term, is when someone repeatedly, over and over, uses aggressive behavior, whether it's in a physical or verbal way, and as well they use relationships too, and I could explain that. For boys, they'll be more physical in their actions towards a victim, and for girls, it's more verbal, gossiping, and relationship, where they'll exclude you from their friends. So isolation is a big deal.
So it's not only just like child to child, but it can be in a relationship or a workplace. I mean,
overall bullying happens, of course, at the job site,
yeah,
in the schools, at home, at the playground, out and about. You'll see aggressive behavior on a t-ball, baseball game, where the parent is irate, screaming at the coach or the umpire, and you can tell that the child is conditioned with that type of behavior at home, and that translates to where he takes it to school.
My friend just took her son to camp, and there was mom cabin bullying. The mother was bullying her about where the kids were going to sleep. So it's really kind of spread into a lot of different areas of our lives these days. Do you have any statistics about bullying?
Well, one that I can share is about 25% of our children, students, are bullied. And that's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. Over 600,000 students a day are bullied.
Wow.
And they stay home, that number stay home from school because of fear of being bullied.
Wow. How about here in Hampton Roads?
Well, Hampton Roads is just a part of the big problem. We have really nice communities, and you can drive around and the houses are great and the school system, but people are people.
Right.
And the same problems do face us as they do any major big city.
I feel like, when I was a child, there may be a bully, but it does seem like it's more prevalent. What do you think why is it different nowadays?
Because it's not isolated to a school, a neighborhood, or a community. Because of technology, you have a lot more cyberbullying occurring. So it's not like I told a lie, a story, or gossip about you, and everyone in your grade knows. No, everyone in the world knows. And once it's out on the internet, you cannot take it back. And a lot of that is done with anonymous, people that hide behind the keyboard and the screen, making these accusations or gossiping or stories, so you don't even know who it is. That's why you have to work really hard to stop this behavior where it starts.
Well, and even in the news when they've talked about, some of the cases have become public, it's, a lot of people didn't realize this was going on. How do you monitor that, this terrible behavior?
First, you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, not too long, people would be in denial. Bullying? No, there's no bullying happening in our school.
Yeah.
Or parents would be like, there's no way my child is a bully. But it's been going on since we were young.
Yeah.
And how we dealt with it was, hey, just go fight him back. If he hits you, you hit him back, and let's just squash it. You cannot do that nowadays.
Right.
And that was wrong thinking then, it's wrong thinking now. Once you retaliate, and now you're no longer the victim.
Yeah.
So it is really hard to get a grasp on that. But we need to talk about it at home with our kids.
Right.
I have a 8-year-old son, his name is Tony, and a 10-year-old girl, her name is Ileana. And we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
She may come home and tell me what happened, and I'll say, well, honey, that wasn't bullying. That was just someone not being nice. But then there's, other times where someone has been bothering her consistently, and then that is bullying. So we have to, at home, address it. At school, we have to have a, safe environment for our students. Kids don't go to school to be bullied. Kids
Right.
don't go to school to be scared. They go to learn and to be in a safe environment.
So, not to put blame on parents, but are you finding the kids that do bully, is it because they've been bullied either, or they're in a difficult situation at home? I mean, I feel like they learned it somewhere.
There's a myth. You either have to be a victim or a bully.
That's not
A
true.
lot of bullies are victims.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you have a victim, let's say a fifth grader, is a bully at school.
Yeah.
And then they go to middle school or high school. Now they're the ones being bullied.
Right.
So it does cross over. Yes, a lot of times in the household you will see that type of behavior, and that is learned behavior when they bring it into school. So we have to look at ourselves as adults and parents and take a really close look, because children will emulate you. Children will
Right.
do what you do. So you have to get that, behavior and check it, because it does affect our kids.
Right.
But not necessarily so. There's a lot of factors involved when it comes to the behavior of a bully. And we have why kids bully. A lot of them like to look and feel powerful. They were bullied themselves to escape their own problems, to make themselves popular, and some bullies are just jealous of that person. They may have more than what they have.
Right.
So there's a lot of reasons why. So yes, bully prevention, and to stop bullying, we have to work together. But let's not forget that bully is also a victim
Right.
of sorts.
Yeah.
So it opens up a lot of areas, gray areas. We want to protect the children that are being bullied.
Right.
Then we want to address why this child is the bully and how we can help.
Right.
As time goes on and we grow up, kids that are bullied will have problems
Right.
throughout their lives. Low self-esteem, depression, suicidal thoughts, and the bullies themselves will continue to go against society. They won't follow the rules. They'll be more likely to be incarcerated
Yeah.
than their peers, and more likely to be repeat offenders.
So who can help them, and who can help identify, because it is a little sad to think that what they're doing is really because of maybe what they've experienced, so they need help as much as the victim.
They do,
Who
but
can
let's
help them?
not lose sight that we first have to protect
Right, absolutely.
the victim, which are our kids. We work together to address it, to inform it, to educate our children, as well as the educators and parents. Once that is established, then because it's not the school's responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not law enforcement's responsibility. Ultimately, it's the parents' responsibility, and we're the support for the
Right.
parents by providing a safe school and by law enforcement being ready to act.
Yeah.
So children and students can take the initiative, and we have a program in the sheriff's office, at the Chesapeake Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Jim O'Sullivan, which is the best sheriff, and he's also the tallest sheriff in the world, by the way. He's 6'6", and he's
Wow.
just great, a big guy, big heart. He developed a children's program, and together we sat down and implemented an anti-bully program called Be a Buddy, Not a Bully.
Oh, yeah.
With this program, we go into the schools. We have a fun time. I'm also a magician, so I incorporate a magic show. The message is disguised as a magic show. We address what bullying is, what kids can do, how educators can help, and we have a great time. They walk away feeling good, and I even had bullies who were identified, not specifically, but with the show, it identifies who's who.
Oh, wow.
What bullies are, who bullies are. And at the end, I had a kid come up to me and say, I don't want to be a bully anymore. Because
Wow.
one thing I say is heroes
Yeah.
are the number one trait that heroes have is they help. So if you're able to help somebody stop being bullied, if you see it, you report it and stop it, you're a hero. And heroes help. That's what we say. And if you don't do anything about it, whether you're bystander, the bully himself, or it's none of my business, I don't want to get involved, then you're a zero, because zeros hurt.
That's good.
So at the end, I've had several kids say, I don't want to be a zero, I want to be a hero.
Yeah.
And you have to relate to the children's mindset so they can grasp that. Because I tell my kids, be nice.
Right.
You know, why be mean? When you have mean kids doing mean things, you know, there's more than what is on the surface.
So when you go into the schools, is this elementary, middle school, and high school?
We first started it as an elementary program, elementary age school kids. And we've been in front of over 18,000 students so far.
So you do
So
it as
far.
a school assembly?
As a school assembly
Yeah.
for the whole school, and we are invited by the schools.
Right.
We sat down with the school administration, we gave them our ideas, they said, great, and you know, we don't advertise it,
Yeah.
but people know about it and they call us. We've also been into the middle schools, because the middle schools is where you find a lot of the actual trauma occurring, the violence occurring, and also where kids feel they have no other way to go, no other thing to do, so they commit suicide. There are a lot
Oh
of
my
suicides.
gosh. In middle school?
In middle school.
Is that the
from as-
most popular age?
well, that leading to high school.
Oh, yeah.
So you have as young as 10, 11, 12-year-old children,
My
students
gosh.
committing suicide. And when I first saw a news program, a 14-year-old boy who committed suicide in New York, and this was 7, 8 years ago, that's what motivated me to put this together.
Right.
Because I could not stop. I was very emotional just
Yeah.
listening to the story and what led up to this boy committing
yeah.
suicide. And it was because being taunted over and over by bullies.
Oh my gosh.
So yes, it is. And then during high school, we do more of a motivational and more topical issues like distracted driving and all, because
Oh,
now
that's
they
a
can
big
drive and they
problem.
go out.
Yeah,
and I
the
can come back and
texting.
talk all about that,
Yeah.
because that is just a huge problem for our young drivers.
So be a buddy, not a bully. This magic show sort of encompasses all of that. And when you're doing the school assemblies, do the parents get to come too, or is it just for the students and
It's
teachers?
just for the students. It's during the school time while they're there, the school
Because the
day.
parents should see this too.
And I agree. And you do have
Yeah.
parents that are involved with the school, and they're
Right.
volunteers, and they're there.
Yeah.
Because you have parents that really are involved with their students. But what the children go back home and
Yeah.
tell the parents about, it's great, because they
Yeah.
can grasp the message. And we give them literature where safety tips and anti-bully tips for the student, for the parents, and for the educators.
Wow.
So all together,
They all work together.
yes, we need to work together. And ultimately, when bullying doesn't stop,
Yeah.
and you're a parent and you need to find a resolution,
Right.
you go to the school.
Right.
The school does whatever they can.
Right.
It may not be enough. Then you go venture out. If it is something where it was a physical altercation, that's an assault.
Yeah.
So you call the police, you call law enforcement. We go in, try to work with the schools and get a resolution.
So there's a whole step to process to all this.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick break, and we know you're a magician. We want you to actually do a magic
Sure,
show.
that'd be
so
great.
when we come back, you'll do some tricks for us.
Absolutely.
I'm Ann Farrell Tata. This is Join Our Town. Stay with us, and we'll be right back to see some magic. Welcome back to Join Our Town. I'm Ann Farrell Tata, your host, and I've been joined today by Lieutenant David Rosado with the Chesapeake Sheriff's Office, and we've been talking about public safety and bullying, and he's going to do a couple of magic tricks for us, and then we're going to move into personal safety tips. But before we do that, we want to see some magic. So David, thank you for staying with us.
Oh, sure, it's my pleasure. This is a little demonstration that I do for the school
Yeah.
assemblies.
Be a bully, a buddy,
Be a buddy,
not a bully.
Not a bully, exactly. And the underline is be a hero, not a zero.
Oh, right.
Because we tell them what to
Yeah.
do so they can become. So start off with a little container.
Okay.
And the little container represents the actual person that's being bullied. And they feel like they cannot go anywhere, do anything, because they're so filled with all these problems that they think are bigger than what they are.
Right.
And I totally agree. And there's a way that we need, as a society together, come in and help these kids. Because if we take a moment, a second, and we are aware of the problem, we can actually do something. And one thing we need to do is we need to report it. We need to tell the teacher, because if you can tell, then we can help. Another thing, if you see someone being bullied, and again, we have to come all together as a community, we can actually make a difference. Not just one, but everyone.
Yeah.
So that's just a little.
No, and that's so good. But it
So-
does.
so
It drives
yeah.
home the point that we all are in this together. And
Exactly.
so often, if we don't tell anyone, the problems are much bigger.
Right, and they seem so much bigger to a
Right.
child.
Right.
But together, we can help them see the big picture, which is that there is help.
Right.
And everyone can help out with solving the problem.
Right.
So
and
that's just
the
a little-
problem's not as big as they thought when
Right.
they're all doing this together.
And also,
That's
every time I
wonderful.
do this trick, well, not every time, but the first time I did this trick, I forgot to clap as well.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, there you go, there you go.
That's a great demonstration, a great visual for them to see that.
Exactly. And if they can relate to it,
Yeah.
then they can do something about it.
Right.
They could understand it. We have to talk to their level
Yeah.
without talking too low to them. We have to, make them respect us. We
Right.
come out in uniform, and we also let them know that we are your friends.
And you are encouraging them to speak about this and not
Yes.
be afraid to talk about it. They're
You
not
have
alone.
to address it, talk about it, and the children themselves have great ideas.
Yeah.
One, and I don't know her name, but one child, student, had if you see any bullying
Mm-hmm.
occurred or occurrence, is there a way we can text? Let's have a text hotline so you can be
Wow.
anonymous
Yeah,
and
that's
help that way. So
great.
yeah, so children have a lot of great ideas.
Yeah.
Which leads us to a safer community, and that's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
I want to talk about us being safe. Being safe at home, out and about, in your car. So we have the ABCs of safety. So we're looking here, is there anything inside the container?
Nothing inside.
Nothing except all this stuff
Nothing
from
inside.
before. So we'll talk about the ABCs of crime prevention. A, you want to be aware, you want to be attentive, and you want to do something about that. So the letter A stands for being aware, being attentive, being alert. The AAA, not the car thing, but the AAA. B, you want to be careful. Be careful. Have a
Right.
plan of action so that you're not a victim. And C, you want to care for yourself, your loved ones, by being careful and being attentive. So we'll come back with the letter C, which stands for caring to do something about it. The letter B, of course, for be aware and be safe, and A, which is alert, aware, and attentive. We're going to cover this up. We've got 1, 2, and 3. Now, let's see if we can make the magic happen. Done. Did you see it?
I did not.
Yes, the letter B is gone.
Oh,
it's
wow.
absolutely
Okay,
gone.
that's
thank
good.
You,
That's
thank
good.
you. And it happens to end up inside.
Oh my gosh.
So that's just a little
Wow.
a little
How'd you do-
demonstration in
That is great.
crime prevention. And I use that also
So the
in the bully
kids have
thing.
got to love that.
Kids do.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So, all right. Now, but that actually brings a good point. How can we be safe but not be paranoid? Because that's a big thing. It's like, sometimes with all the things that are in the news and everything, I think people are becoming a little paranoid,
You have to educate yourself on how to be safe.
right?
And that's one thing I do within the community of Chesapeake. The Sheriff O'Sullivan and I go out and speak to organizations, churches, clubs, schools, and talk about being safe.
Right.
You have to have a game plan. When it comes to safety, you have to know that you are responsible for your own safety. You have to be aware of your surroundings without being paranoid.
Be aware of, yeah.
Be aware.
Alert.
Be alert. You have to have a plan of action, so you have to be safe. And once you put that together, you could go about your daily life knowing that and not come into too much problems. So let's talk about being safe at home.
Yeah.
If you have a door, lock it. If there's a lock on your door, lock it. And I say that because when I moved out here in '99, I had car doors. I would walk in parking lots. They would open. Wallets on the dash. I didn't understand. Coming from New York,
Yeah.
why aren't you locking your doors? So if you have a door in a lock in your door, lock it. Lock your windows. When you're at home, make sure that you know your emergency numbers. Okay, your non-emergency numbers, your emergency numbers. Call 911 if in doubt. In your homes, be well lit on the
Yeah.
outside, especially at night. If you have a dark entranceway, then you may have somebody lurking.
So you
there.
should always keep your light on overnight.
Keep your lights on, yes, keep your lights
I
on.
need to tell my husband that. He says it's costing too much electricity.
Keep your
to
lights
the light
on, please. It's not that much, and it's definitely a safe tactic. I'm from New York, and trust me, with the lights off, when you walk into an apartment, you turn on your lights, the roaches scatter.
Wow.
Same thing here. Light will
The
prevent
criminals.
that, yes. And if you have hedges or shrubbery in front of your windows, cut them down
Yeah.
so you can see what's out there. As well as alarm systems are great if you could afford it. I have people tell me, "Oh, I just put the sign on the outside." The sign's not really going to help
Yeah.
you.
I know a lot of people that have done that.
You're parked in your driveway or on the street. Lock your doors.
Yeah.
Lock your doors. You have so many people come by in a neighborhood and they just check the locks.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you have an array of police reports that cars were stolen or things were stolen. There's so much with the safety thing, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure that when you're out and about in your car, make sure you have your cell phone
Yeah.
with you so you can call 911. Maintenance for the car. Get routine maintenance so
Yeah.
it doesn't break down.
Right.
Make sure you have enough gas instead of running out. This is the number one question I have. If I'm driving by myself at night, I'm a woman or I'm elderly, and there's lights behind me and it's dark, I don't feel safe pulling over, what do I do?
Right.
I tell
I've
'em-
wondered that too.
I tell them don't pull over.
Yeah.
Pull over at a well-lit place like a gas station, a Walmart, a Wawa.
Can you call 911?
Absolutely, that's why you have your cell phone.
Yeah.
You call 911 and say, "Hey, there's a car with lights behind me. I'm on this road. Can you please let me know if this is a real officer?"
Right.
And they'll say, "Oh yes, I suggest you pull over." Or say, "No, there's no one in that vicinity."
Wow.
So you say, "Well, somebody is behind me. Can you please send someone?"
Does that happen a lot?
It happens, and you'll know when it happens when it's on the news, because
Oh
it
my
happens
gosh.
enough where these questions are valid and they ask. I'd rather be told off by the cop or have
Right.
them really, "Why didn't you pull over?" or explain myself, than stopping and not being able to explain myself,
Right.
because I'll be on the side of the road in a ditch.
So, and going back to when you're in public and having a plan, so let's say it's night, late at night, and you have to run to the grocery store or something. What is part of the plan? Is it being able to run a certain way, or like what does that
No,
look like?
Sure. Have different approaches to where you're going. So
Yeah.
let's say if you have a routine where you leave your house and you go down one road to work, and that's the same road you come back. If somebody is looking at you and looking at your routine, they know when you come and when you go.
Wow.
So have different routes to work. If you're not in a rush, take a different route. As well as having your neighbors, be nice to your neighbors.
Yeah.
Because when you're not there, they can look out for you. And when you leave town, you could call your neighbor and say, "Hey, can you park your car if you have an extra car, park your car in my driveway, so it
Oh,
looks like
that's a good
someone is there."
idea.
Or, "Hey, can you pick up the newspapers from my front porch, because they're
Yeah.
accumulating if I'm not there." Call or go to the post office, tell them to stop your mail for a period of time.
Right.
All those little things that you can do and are easy to do, people just don't do them.
Well, what if you do sort of see something a little suspicious, but that's the thing, is you don't want to look like you're
You want to report the
judgmental,
crime.
and you don't want to.
You want to report the crime and let them sort it out. If you don't report the crime,
Can you do it anonymously?
yes, you can.
Don't tell them it was
Yes,
me.
yes, you can. You just call the police department at their non-emergency number, say, "Hey, something looks suspicious. I just want to let you know. I seen this car, this white panel truck at the end of my street. It's been there for 2 hours. Nobody's come out. I think there's someone inside." So you let them sort it out. They'll send a vehicle through the neighborhood.
Won't judge you.
No. I'd rather have a nosy neighbor
Yeah.
than someone who says it's none of my business and lets things happen.
Right.
And the best neighbors are there's seniors
Yeah.
that they're home all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great lookouts.
Because, a lot of times, even when these people have turned out to be, robbers or whatever, a lot of times the neighbors say they were always so nice. So what do we look for?
Look for odd behavior.
Yeah.
Look for odd things, the comings and goings, different times. But it is hard when somebody that you don't know
Right.
and you have no clue. They're just neighbors. So get to know your neighbors,
Right.
but protect yourself at the same time.
And
a lot of crime that's committed
Yeah.
is committed by people you know.
Oh, really? Including in the neighborhood? So there are people.
A lot of sexual assaults,
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of burglaries because they know when you're not home.
Oh my gosh. Do you know sort of certain neighborhoods that have been, attacked more than others? Do you get that information?
Well, there is demographic statistics that we look at.
But it's
where
not like
there's
it's
more-
not like robbers,
Yeah,
pinpoint.
and a lot of times those occurrences happen during the day.
Oh, gosh.
Years ago,
Yeah.
they would rob you at night, 3 in the
Oh.
morning. Now
it's during-
10 in the
'cause
morning.
everyone's working.
Everyone's working.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Rosado. I
Thank
can't
you.
thank you enough. I'm Ann Farrell Tata. We've been joined by Lieutenant David Rosado from the Chesapeake Sheriff, and we've gotten some great tips on how to be safe. We'll see you next time on Join Our Town.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Joy in Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.